Hello again, it's me, Angry Russian, back again. Now it's one of my other new videos of me pointing out the obvious, but it's some videos that I like doing from time to time, as I when I have time, of course. Now, this is one of the videos that kind of annoy me the most, and it really does show the ignorance and the arrogance of D.Marble, because he just proves to me how little he listens and how little he's willing to listen, or how willing or unwilling he is to understand. Flat earthers always like to point out, research, but no, it's selective research. They only research and take in what they want to hear, and what basically agrees to their sort of conspiracy agenda, kind of side that they want. Because everything in this video, right, has already been explained, pointed out to be wrong, or just basically is just pulled out of thin air like most of them. Now I'm going to try and swear a little bit less in this video, because some people get offended. Whoop-de-doo. But hey, and this is one of the reasons why I've had enough. It's one of the main reasons why Neil deGrasse Tyson's had enough, because you just can't deal with these people. I think he's decided that's it, done, which I'm very close to doing that. I'm going to leave it to other people who have got a fair more knowledge than me, because like I've explained many times, I'm not a mathematician, I'm not a physicist, but I know a fair bit that I can understand, because everybody keeps on telling me, you're just believing what you're being told. No, it's got nothing to do with believing what I'm being told. It's the fact that I can comprehend and understand what I'm being told, and I've said that plenty of times before. But let's see how long this video takes. I'm just gonna go over a few things, and just point out a few fallacies and my usual shit. Okay, so here we go.
We do actually have a 24-hour live feed of the Earth spinning. You can see the curvature and all that from the ISS.
Well, yes, we do have a 24-hour live stream. Well, there used to be a 24-hour live stream, I think, it used to be on a Sky channel, I think I'm right in saying, from a orbital satellite, so millions of miles away from, I think it's probably one of those points where the Himbawari satellite is. But the Earth doesn't spin as fast as you think, so the program was quite boring to watch, because flat earthers have this thing going, the Earth spins at 1,000 miles an hour, and they seem to think that that's what it should look like. You know what I mean? And yes, you can see the Earth's curvature and things like that from the ISS. So good, you've at least got that idea sorted.
Anybody that decides that they want to take a little bit of time to do some research will
yes, research.
Find lots of footage of the so-called International Space Station with these astronauts actually
good fucking grief.
Conducting their training in pools.
Walks.
Yes, they do training in pools. This is another argument point. Why don't they train in vacuum chambers? Well, they test the suits out in small vacuum chambers. But remember, a vacuum chamber, so basically a vacuum does not equate to weightlessness. You know what I mean? It's zero gravity. It's not how it works. The reason why they do training like this in pools is because it's the closest thing we have that feels somewhat zero G. But it's actually nothing like zero G, because water has weight to it.
These are faked inside a swimming pool. It's a custom-built swimming pool.
Yes, of course it's going to be a custom-built swimming pool. What are they going to do? Use your local swimming pool to do all this in?
And that's a great way to fake zero gravity.
No, they don't fake zero-G gravity. Do you have any evidence of this? That'll be no.
About 6 months ago, in
This is somebody else's video, but hey.
2013, a gallon of water leaked into one of their spacesuits in a matter of seconds.
I don't know where he's getting this manner of seconds from, but oh well.
NASA doesn't really have a proper explanation for how on earth this could have happened.
Yes, they do.
There shouldn't be water leaking into someone's...
Right, let me get this. Even I know this. right? And this is the thing, that's an old video. This has been explained many times, even official messages by NASA, which D.Marble here refuses to most likely read or refuses to believe. Is that what happened was a seal in the spacesuit, basically from the big backpack that they wear, which has got the air conditioning system in it and water delivery and all that kind of thing, how they cool the suits down, that seal apparently failed and water leaked in. Now, this is the kind of fallacy with this, is that they know they're filmed in a swimming pool, right? And they must be edited out. They have to CGI out all the water and bubbles, if that's the case, okay? Why would they even disclose that this happened at all, when if this was being faked, water in the swimming pool, just take the astronaut out, give him a new suit, back in he goes, nobody needs to know, none the wiser. Why would they need to explain this if this was so important to keep their conspiracy going? Do you understand what I'm saying here? Is that if this truly was faked, why would they need to disclose that? So basically what happened is that water leaked into his helmet, a gallon. Now a gallon's not as much as you think in such a big helmet, but water in GOG is quite dangerous because it sticks to your face. So they needed him quite quickly to get help and take the helmet off. But they did eventually find out what was wrong, or what was wrong with it and how it happened.
They conducted training in these pools because, well, that's pretty much what they're doing.
No, they conduct training in their pools because that's where they train. You just said it yourself. It's where they train. Do I really need to go over this?
The International Space Station, I mean, it could rather be called the International Swimming Station. There's been, like, tons of footage uploaded.
Oh, here we go. I know what this is going to be.
Where they've made mistakes and they were unable to edit out the bubbles rising in their spacewalks.
The crew members going through some final steps before they get out the door. Just to update you, the spacewalk has officially started. That start time coming at 6:24 a.m.
Like, do you really think that they would release this footage if that were the case? They've made mistakes in editing. Really? And I would like to point out that this ISS structure here, okay, is vastly different from the one they train on. So they do their training in another pool and then go into a different pool. Sounds reasonable. Does it hell? And the only trouble is that all I can ever see with flat earthers is that they assume that these are bubbles. They could be air particles, tiny pieces of debris that are kind of floating around the area of the ISS, coming from the ISS, tiny parts, molecules of, air, maybe, whatever have you. Could be actually very well be tiny molecules of water. We don't, it's one of those things. I don't think it's very well explained what they are. But they're assuming that they're bubbles. I mean, come on, guys, really. Because it is known that the ISS, where the ISS is at the 240 miles high, alright, 240, 250, all those kind of miles high, okay, is that there's still actually air particles up there, which is why, because it still actually feels a lot of friction, which is why the ISS slows down, which is why they have to do speed boost from time to time to keep it into orbit. I mean, have no flat earthers actually gone through this entire thing and actually thought of what other possibilities it could be, other than just bubbles? I mean, they just look at it and go, ooh, bubbles, and that's it. And I've gone through this before. I'm not doing the Finding Nemo reference again, but, as much as I quite like that, it's quite funny. But yeah, they've put no other thought into what this could be.
Central, 7:24 a.m. Eastern, while the station was just a little under 250 statute miles just to the north of Indonesia.
Now, did you see that? I saw a couple of specks. Now, some specks are going here down towards the Earth here, okay? Now, I saw a few go directly across. So it shows there's something else going on up there, something else is happening here other than just bubbles. Just hit the head here.
There's no reason for ice particles or air bubbles or dust or anything to fly rapidly out of the airlock door at rapid paces. I mean,
Is there not? I can give you one right at the top of my head. You know, it's air pressure. You know, things get sucked out like that, or thing. It's basically the difference in differential pressure. The pressure might not be the same. They do kind of calculate the pressure. The pressure inside the airlock could be equalized, but air particles might still burst out. Like Jeranism, I mean, in this video, this is an old one, so I'm not going to have a go at Jeranism here, but again, it's all assumptions done by flat earthers that they go, well, this shouldn't happen. Well, shouldn't happen based on what?
they're not being shot out of the door. What's going on here? They should not rise.
Well, it's because astronauts probably weigh a lot heavier than the particles that are being taken out, so this is probably why they're not being shot out.
Rapidly to the surface. Many
I want to check that one out, if you haven't already.
Yes, I already have, and there's nothing there to suggest that they're just bubbles.
They say that you can see the curvature from the International Space Station, but the fact of the matter is they're using fisheye lenses while they're doing this filming, and that's obvious to anybody that's paying attention.
Yes, they use fisheye lenses. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, like you said, they're not hiding anything because you can clearly tell that that's bent, that's curving and everything. They're not hiding this from anybody. Oh yes, the NASA are really going to basically path this off as being an actual camera with no fisheye lenses on it. Of course, this is a fisheye lens, and they're not hiding that fact. Now, I would still like to point out here, right? Yes, they've got a bit of original footage from a fisheye camera lens, right? That's because you can get more, thing into the footage, right? But I would still like to point out, even with the lens correcting here, there's still a hell of a curve going on. And I would like to point out how high that is. That's higher than the Blackbird's jets go. Far fucking higher. And if it's CGI, why would they bloody use fisheye lenses on CGI?
Wire harnesses, deals done on board the International Space.
Right, let's just start this from here.
Also, there's been lots of blooper reels done on board the International Space Station showing.
No, I don't think NASA do the blooper reels themselves. I think it's just flat earthers seem to think that bloopers are going on, even though they just coming out of it's making shit up.
That these astronauts are using wire harnesses.
Well, let me tell you something about the space station. It's only.
Alright, that music is annoying me, so I have to put that off. So, that's their evidence there. So the guy's clearly got a little backpack here with an aerial or something on him. And they're assuming that because he's got such a rigid line, they're assuming that he's using a wire. And obviously he isn't. Is there any proof of the wire? No. They just assume because he moves like this, he must be using one. And that's all the evidence they need. Again, see, they're just trying to point this out. Even though there's no evidence for it at all. Turned off the gravity? What you mean? Well, no, he's clearly got his feet hooked on the floor, and as he tried to tilt backwards, he didn't unhook his feet from the floor. It's observations like this. Most flat earthers really don't think stuff through. It's that I've seen what astronauts do, and I can figure shit out for myself. Is that he went backwards right? And basically just didn't unhook his feet from the floor, from one of the blue bars that are on the floor. Let's put the music up a little bit.
Yeah, they all get paid. Look at me, ma, I'm floating in space. No,
Oh, I see where this is going.
you're not, you lied into the human race. So let me tell you something about
And I've gone over this video before.
G-plane, this thing flies up and then down again. Some weird stuff happens if you're on the inside. You start to float as the plane takes a dive.
Yeah, she sees it and laughing. She's not worried. Seeing what? Obviously, I think his foot was probably about to hook in some sort of cable over there, and he just tried to move it out of the way. That's a reasonable explanation, but flat earthers don't do reasonable.
Simply add an actor that's trained to deceive, and you got yourself an astronaut, or so you believe. Plane flies up and that's everyone's cue, then action. We got some deceiving to do. Plane flies down and then everyone knows to start the ISS live show. Floating in a plane.
So I've done this video before. He's not grabbing anything. You can clearly tell that his little finger hooks on inside his pocket. And that's all I want to say on that. So I can easily... That's just so bloody obvious. But no, flat earther logic, there must be an invisible wire. Because logic. Right, and then this. Yes, this exists. Yes, that doesn't prove anything. Right? But they're clearly not using this, because this would show... Look how bloody big this harness is. I'm pretty sure they can't hide that underneath their t-shirts or trousers.
No, you're not. You lied into the human race.
Not to mention all the ladies on these so-called space missions always have permed hair to simulate them actually being out in space, when in actuality, you can see how real hair operates in zero gravity through footage from a zero gravity plane.
One of the tricks they use to
Oh, see, look, now, see how confident that flat earther just spoke there? One of the tricks they use, so he's using it as it's definitely what they do.
maintain continuity between periods of weightlessness. Take a look at this woman's hair. Doesn't it look a bit strange to you?
Yeah, it does, because on a day-to-day basis, hair doesn't float around like that. You know, I don't go outside and the woman's hair's like, Jesus!
Look how it seems to spring back into place. We're led to believe that this is an effect of weightlessness, that hair will just sort of float around. But it doesn't quite seem natural, does it?
Of course not, because we don't live in zero-G.
Here's video from the vomit comet again. Watch the way this woman's hair flows as she moves.
Does it flow? I can't really see it flowing to me. It looks a lot more rigid than, as it were, if it was in water. But remember, vomit comets, right, zero-G planes, they're not as stable. It's not a constant sense of stable zero-G as the ISS experiences. It's very turbulency. So you go up and down quite a lot. See? I don't see her hair flowing.
It seems quite obvious now that this is some kind of perm or hairspray. So that between periods of weightlessness, we get that visual.
By NASA.
Right, stop there. Again, it's the sort of shit that they get mixed up. They assume that hair in zero-G should act the way it does in water, because floaty. Well, no, it's all about fluid dynamics. Water has weight behind it, and it pushes hair around. You're assuming that hair in water is... Well, let me just rephrase that. You're assuming that in zero-G, hair should act exactly the same. But most likely it doesn't. You know, it most likely doesn't, and it definitely doesn't. I really do think that if that was the case, they wanted to hide that. They would have had all their female astronauts to wear ponytails, because that would have been much easier for continuity if that was the case. If they just wore ponytails, or hell, just got women to have short hair. But no, they use hairspray. That's a lot of stuff to go wrong, that is. Hell, they even had one woman on the ISS to wash her hair in front of everybody. She had long hair. Then it moved a bit. Yes, a bit rigid, but again, you're assuming that hair is supposed to float around like it does in water, but that's just simply not the case. What research have you done to know this? Like in that video that was just there, that girl's hair doesn't look like it's floating to me like it does in water. See? It stays roughly in the same sort of thing. It's a lot more rigid than it would be in water, but never mind.
One of the most recent bloopers by NASA happened a few weeks ago. There was this massive CGI glitch while they were supposed to be recording live, showing that there was live editing going on during the recording. Talk about the
Right, again, they assume that that's a CGI glitch because it improves their narrative. I've had live stream, I remember when I was in primary school and I did live stream videos. When some lag happens, whilst you're streaming or whatever have you, you can get that effect. I've had that effect on videos myself. Sometimes that shit happens. That's got nothing to do with CGI. Nothing. If that was CGI, right, it would have been just the background and not the people. Then that's just me speculating, so I'm not going to say that's definite, but that's just me speculating. But I'm not assuming anything, like 100% assuming. He is downright assuming that that is definitely CGI, that's a CGI glitch. And that's where he goes wrong. But you can't explain because the damn dude doesn't want to listen. I mean, I have gone on to another channel of mine to see comments that I've left on his channel, and I can't see my comments, so he's blocked me and deleting my comments. That's how much he basically wants to listen to people. He's not interested at all. Like what I say about Jainism, his mind has already been made up. He's not interested in truth or all this kind of thing. His mind is made up. The earth is flat, ISS is a line, that's it, done. Doesn't matter what you give him.
Exterior of this International Space Station. So, the orbital height of the International Space Station is said to be 250 miles up, away from the Earth's surface.
Yes, well done. That's a good bit of research there.
Okay, 250 miles.
I like the way he says that. When he starts using it, he goes, okay, like he's had some epiphany.
That leaves it right between the mesosphere and the exosphere. That puts it in a
You have no idea what they are, do you? You just looked that up and just said those words.
place called the thermosphere.
The temperature of the thermosphere can reach up to 3,632
Oh, here we go.
degrees Fahrenheit.
Now, the ISS, one of the most commonly used materials of the ISS is 2219 T6 aluminum alloy. The melting temperature of aluminum is 1221 degrees Fahrenheit. The melting temperature of glass is 1538 degrees Fahrenheit. The melting temperature of steel is 2750 degrees Fahrenheit. The melting temperature of titanium is 3034 degrees Fahrenheit. Doesn't that mean that most of the external components of the ISS should be, melted?
No. And don't do your little fucking cute head tilt like he's supposed to basically make me go, "Aww, he's confused. Poor thing." No. If we just basically looked up, but this is where a bit of science comes in, and you can believe that as much as you want, because, hell, conspiracy, right? Is that basically out in space, heat is transferred and absorbed far differently. Because there's no air, there is no way for heat to affect things the same or to travel the same as it does here. And again, you're connecting how you feel down on Earth with how things are in space, but they are completely different. We don't know how it feels as humans to to live up there and to experience zero-G on a daily basis and how things work in physics. You're basing grounded physics compared to zero-G physics and space physics and vacuum physics. They're not the same. You know, things heat transfer different. Basically, things heat up and dissipate heat out in space thanks to radiation. So it's not, things don't heat up the same as they do down here. So satellites and the ISS, right, can radiate heat away as easy as it absorbs it. Okay, it's how that works, and I would assume there's plenty of experiments in that can show this. Okay, and what satellites do, and many other the ISS do, is that that's why the ISS is mainly white in colour, and why satellites are the same, and they all have that gold foil-looking material on it, is that basically that maximizes its heat radiation whilst it minimizes its heat absorption. That's science for you, you know. This is simple. This is simple research that you can be doing, rather than just assuming, well, they should melt. You people are such full of shit.
That would pretty much be what happens. That's like
It would happen if it was happening down here, but not up there.
I don't know, taking an airplane made out of snow and flying that thing around in Texas in July. That's about how well that would work out, just to simulate on a common sense level how people.
Now see, this common sense level, that's exactly my point. How fucking dumbed down, oops I swore but never mind, how bloody dumbed down does science need to be before people like you get it? You know, this is my issue. All this conspiracy stems from the fact that you are so unwilling to understand the science presented to you. It's like, no, it's fake. And okay, well, there's not much I can do for you, I'm afraid. And I've just given experience on how that works in space, and how heat travels and absorbs and gets radiated away and all this kind of thing. It's the reason why Earth doesn't keep on heating up. It's because it radiates a lot of heat outwards into space. If there was no way for Earth to radiate heat, the planet would just get hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter. And the only trouble is, thanks to global warming and the fact that due to the more carbon in the air, it's now reflecting, as basically the Earth is radiating the heat away, it's reflecting it straight back in again. So Earth isn't radiating as much heat as it used to. It's a bit of science for you, Sunshine. It would be good. Ooh, and look how local this sun is. Look at that heat spot on his forehead and his face. That sun must be on the other side of the camera.
Comprehend that the ISS is operating at those temperatures in the thermosphere. It makes absolutely no sense.
Yes, it does. Science.
The ISS being at that altitude in those temperatures is a physical impossibility because the external components would have melted time and time again.
I've just explained that they wouldn't. No. And also, don't you people say that everything was created by NASA? Why would NASA, basically, with the technology presented, make these temperatures of the thermosphere and the mesosphere and all this kind of thing, then do this space station idea? Why would they do that? And I'm pretty sure that we went into the ISS was created, or an International Space Station was done before we found out what the temperature of the mesosphere was and the thermosphere. I'm pretty sure about that, but I do need to look up on that, and if it is wrong, I'll probably put a description down below to explain myself that I was wrong in that case. But it's that, why would they do that? That's just shooting yourself in the foot. You know? I'm pretty sure, you know, they've got this thing sorted out. Again, it's all about how heat is transferred and absorbed and radiated away.
You get that? Now, let's take a look at the ISS. Maybe we can figure out why it hasn't melted yet.
What the fuck is this music for?
Oh, I see why because it's a hologram.
Oh, for fuck.
Yeah, what you just saw right there, that was a hologram. Okay? The ISS is supposed to be up that high. It's all lit up, it's all bright and shiny, and people think that they can actually film this thing. And actually, people would say, you know what, there is a website, and the ISS really is up there. It's not a hologram. You can actually go out there and film the ISS anytime you want. Okay. You think you can go outside and film the ISS?
Yes, you can. But it's not in terms of filming. You can take pictures and time-lapse images.
Now let's go ahead and build this up. A quick Google search is going to tell you that the speed of sound is 768 miles per hour, as simulated here with this jet breaking the sound barrier.
There it is.
Now, the speed of sound. Right, okay. Now, again, he's claiming that, oh, how fast that is, right? I would like to point out that a Concorde, as far as I'm aware, right, went twice the speed of sound. Okay? Went twice the speed of sound. And yet people travelling twice as fast as that jet were able to sit in comfort, walk around the plane, eat food, go to the toilet with no issues whatsoever. So that demonstration you just showed is completely pointless.
Okay, also, the speed of a bullet is about twice the speed of sound. So
again, people are able to actually travel that speed on a Concorde, or the used to, because Concorde doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately, with relative comfort. So
let's go ahead and check out some bullets being fired somewhere around 1,536 miles per hour. Okay, now, another Google search is going to tell you that the regular speed of the International Space Station is somewhere around 17,150 miles per hour. Let me say that again. 17,150 miles per hour.
yes, and well done, you can read.
Okay? The circumference of the Earth is said to be 24,901 miles around. All right?
Yes.
That means that the ISS should make a complete orbit around the Earth every, let's say, hour and a half.
Yeah, that's correct. The ISS does actually, in fact, orbit the Earth every 90 minutes or so. Which it does, because people can calculate these things. Oh well.
Somewhere around every 90 minutes or so, the ISS should make a complete orbit around the Earth, if
Which it does.
it's a globe. Yes? Alright, so let's check out that blazing speed on this video. Now, I'm just going to leave it to you. After seeing those bullets flying through the air, after seeing that jet breaking the sound barrier, now, does it really look to you like the ISS is moving anywhere near 17,000 miles per hour, or 22 times the speed of sound? Does it look like it's going that fast? Really? So people believe that they can go outside, take a telescope or a camera, and so people believe.
Right. Again, you're forgetting the concept of scale and distance here. This is 240 miles high from the surface. So it's not going to appear, again, it's not going to appear as fast as you think it should appear. And again, there's no friction out in space, there's no air, there's nothing to base this on. Like, basically, let me just say this, right? If the sun is circling like the flat earth claims, okay? And hell, even if it's like the earth orbiting, it works for both. But let's just say this, right? Let's do the flat earth concept. If the sun is truly moving, circling above us on the flat Earth, okay, and we have a 24-hour day. In 24 hours, the sun will be back in the same spot. So that basically, it stands to reason, right, that sun is travelling at 1,000 miles an hour. Does it look like it's travelling at 1,000 miles an hour? No, it does not, because it would be even if that was the case, that means the sun is tremendously far away. The Earth orbiting concept is far more believable, and all that kind of concept, because it's about the same thing, right? Watch an object right in front of you move at 1,000 miles an hour, it'll zoom straight past. Watching an object moving 1,000 miles an hour, but you're looking at it at a distance of a few miles, it appears to be moving a hell of a lot slower.
Believe that they can go outside, take a telescope or a camera, and they can actually point it at the sky and keep up with the ISS while it's moving overhead.
No, that's not how photography of the ISS works. Again, you're assuming. You've done no research on the matter. I can look up something right now for you, and I'll leave links down below, of a man who photographed the ISS. Now what it is, it's basically the camera was set to take burst images over basically a course of a couple of minutes. So basically his telescope, I think, was essentially took images of a large part of the sky. So as the ISS passed through it, it took many photographs of it. Basically, that video you showed of the ISS moving that you claimed is a hologram, I've actually got the video of the guy who produced that, and what that is a time-lapse video. So it's basically layers upon layers upon layers upon layers of a photograph. Thanks to computer software, the ISS was then centered in the center of that image. So what you're looking at isn't a video, it's just loads, hundreds of frames of the image playing to, like a GIF, you know, it's or like how a flip book works, that sort of thing. You get my point here? You know, so it's just layers upon layers upon layers of the ISS that happen to be centered in the screen to give you that illusion of a video. Now, I could give you tons of videos right now, right, of basically people can calculate at certain times when the ISS will pass in front of the moon or pass in front of the sun. And there are people who have photographed this and filmed this, and I will give you links again to this sort of thing, okay, where they will just focus on the sun or on the moon. They will film it, they'll zoom in, and you can see the ISS pass straight in front of it, and it's quick. You know, it's because they've zoomed in, so the focal length and the amount of sky they can see is a lot less. So it does move. It moves pretty fucking sharpish. But there are hundreds of videos of that example. And this is their own calculations that they know that the ISS, thanks to where the moon is and the sun is, on occasion you can see the ISS pass in front. There's so much of this you can look up, dude. Really. Stop being such an arrogant, ignorant fucking motherfucker and do some proper fucking research.
While it's going in excess of 17,000 miles per hour. You really think so?
Well, no, like I said, they don't really record it. People don't really keep up with it, as you claim. That's not how that video was created.
Do you really believe that if the ISS is moving at 17,150 miles per hour, that anyone will be able to take a clear picture or video of it?
Yes. Because it's been done. But no, of course, you think it's a hologram. But bullshit, that's not enough on grounds. Just because you think it can't be done, doesn't mean it can't be done.
You think so?
Look at him fucking shaking around there and thinging his elbows, thinging his face. He's so fucking arrogant.
I don't. No.
Well, exactly. That's the point here. Just because you don't think it can happen, doesn't mean it can't happen. People have done it. There are people who, like, let's say, give an example, things in sport. Some people think that, you know, this guy can't run this fast and jump this high, but he did it. Doesn't matter. Your opinion doesn't mean a fucking single thing in reality, my friend. It fucking doesn't.
Another question. They say that the ISS was taken up in pieces and built while in orbit.
Yes, it was. Well done.
Was it traveling at that speed while they were building it? At what point did the ISS begin to travel at this speed?
It was travelling at that speed as they were building it. But I can pretty much guess where this is going.
Seriously, I mean, because if you take a good look at it, you don't see any thrusters that are
It does have thrusters.
supposedly pushing it to go 17,000 miles per hour.
No, orbit, that's the thing. The 17,000 miles an hour orbit speed is thanks to the fact it's in orbit. It's in constant freefall, which is what orbit is. It's the orbit that's making it go that fast, not the thrusters. The thrusters got it to that speed, but because there's no friction, it doesn't need to constantly keep its thrusters going.
I mean, at what point did it achieve this breakneck speed? Seriously.
Look it up then if you don't fucking know.
Another question.
So you asked a question that you basically don't even... Again, this is a question that you could have fucking looked up yourself.
How is it that something the size of a football field can achieve such speeds?
And here we go.
Just think about that. ISS is supposed to be the size of a football field. It was built in pieces out in orbit. You really think it's going that fast? And seriously, if the ISS is up there, do you really think that it will be, one, moving at those speeds, and two, be able to sustain itself during orbit in those temperatures that would melt the exterior of the ISS? Also, if it's moving at excess...
Right, okay, again, the temperature thing has already been explained, and in terms of its speed and its size, there's no air in space. There's no friction, there's nothing. There's no friction, there's no air, there's nothing to slow it down. You're basically assuming, like that famous video of Jeremy Clarkson as he accelerates that car. You know, when his face goes, you know, his face, you know, G-forces and all that kind of thing. You're expecting, not G-forces, but the air, you know, when, like, you see a flag flutter in the wind and all that kind of thing. And when you put your hand out of a car, you feel your hand get pushed back. Well, that doesn't happen in space because there is no friction, there's no air. Which is why, you know, I'm repeating myself here, but just, you get the point. Do some critical thinking here, D.Marble. It's starting to piss me off.
Of 17,000 miles per hour, and there's supposed to be all this debris and space junk out there. Anything that taps the ISS, regardless of size, is going to tear right through it.
Which is why it's as high as it is. Most of the dangerous space junk, I mean most of it, right, is much higher. There is other space junk out there, but it's also travelling at relatively the same speed as the ISS. Could be travelling a bit slower, could be faster. Now, a lot of the big stuff can be tracked. And thanks to gyros on the ISS, it can steer itself somewhat. Steers its way out of some of the big stuff, then goes back into alignment. A lot of the small stuff, it has armour plating and things to deal with the tiny shit, if it even penetrates at all.
As you take a closer look at these things and start to ask questions concerning the heliocentric model and...
No, it's not your questions, it's the fact that you are so uninterested in the answers provided. Like I said, your mind is already made up.
the different parts of it, it starts to break down and doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
No, it doesn't break down. And the simple fact of the matter is, it just doesn't make sense to you. That doesn't mean it doesn't make sense in the grand scheme of things.
Just take some time to think about these things and start...
I have. And I've looked up, I've done proper research. The amount of times you have been debunked, my friend, along with D.Marble, along with Geronism, along with Bob from fucking Globe Earthers, along with all those fucking people, right? They have been debunked time and time again, but they claim ignorance and they just don't want to listen to it. You know, hell, one of those people from fucking Globebusters wished that that fucking Red's Rhetoric and Slice Barcane, well, I think it was directed at Slice Barcane, this was, that he should he'd probably only go and see him if he hung himself. I'm not going to quote that, but pretty much one of them did say that.
Start asking questions to understand these things, because, I mean, seriously.
Again, just because you don't understand it doesn't mean there's any issues here. Like I said before, how much does science and knowledge need to be dumbed down for people like you to finally understand?
It just doesn't pass the common sense test.
Oh, fuck off.
The ISS would have melted.
No, it wouldn't have. Look up how heat works in a vacuum.
There's no way it's going that fast.
Yes, it is, whether you like it or not.
It's obviously a hologram.
No, it fucking isn't. Look up how that video was made.
They're in a pool. You
Yes, but only when they're training.
can see bubbles.
They're most likely not bubbles.
You know about the fisheye lens technology.
Yes, they use fisheye lenses from time to time. Big fucking whoop. They're not illegal or anything.
You've seen video with the harnesses.
No, there are no videos of them using harnesses. It's just that you think they are.
You've seen the CGI glitches.
There is no CGI glitch. That was probably a streaming glitch.
It's all smoke and mirrors.
Oh, fuck off.
Now, I stay on Flat Earth because I see Flat Earth as a way to open the door to the other deceptions. Because, obviously, if somebody...
See, that's the issue here, is that you're linking other conspiracies to Flat Earth to make it more compelling. This is why Jeranism has the viewer base that he has. Jeranism likes to go on things and talks about 9/11, JFK, mass shootings, blah, blah, blah. He talks about them, and that gets people's dander up. That makes their tail go up and their ears go up. Ooh, conspiracy, all interesting. I find conspiracy interesting. So what he does then, he then moves on to Flat Earth, and people go, ooh, he has some interesting points about this conspiracy. He could be right about this conspiracy. And this is the issue here. You can't link the two.
They will lie to you about the very foundation of the world that you live in.
No, they're not.
They'll lie to you about everything else.
That's no. The killing of a president is on far tinier scope than lying about the size and scale and shape of our fucking planet. That's a little different.
I use Flat Earth to open the door to these other things.
No, you use Flat Earth to open the door for you to basically use Patreon and fucking PayPal and shit to basically steal people's money or from them who are far more gullible and stupid than you.
You understand that you've been lied to about the very place that you're going to exist through?
No, there is no lies. Maybe in some aspects and some topics and things perhaps, but not in the shape of this planet. Absolutely fucking not.
Your whole life. The next question you need to be asking is, well, what else would they lie to us about? And the obvious answer is everything.
Whoa. So how do we trust you then, Sunshine? How do we know you're not lying and just stealing people's money?
So from here...
Because the thing is, you live out of a van. You're probably a little strapped for cash in many respects, and you're probably looking for any sort of money you can to basically find living, to make living easier.
Spread the truth, expose the lies.
Spread the truth. What truth? How are you so fucking certain that what you believe in is truth? I've just pointed out all your mistakes and all the fact that you haven't done enough research yet. The fact that you don't know how heat transfers out in space. What truth are you fucking basing this off? And how you're not even certain that what you believe is lies are lies. It's all based off the fact that you don't understand what you're being told.
And demand answers. This is the Flat Earth Offensive. You are the resistance.
Stop fucking acting like this is the resistance, like you're gonna fucking get millions upon millions of people to march on NASA. It's not gonna fucking happen. It really fucking isn't. But, you know, that's me and my video done. I know it's a bit of a long one, this one. I know I'm going to get some comments about how shit I am and the fact you don't like my Welsh accent. Well, like, you know, fuck you. But, you know, let's put it this way. I might be sounding uncouth sometimes. I might sound like a bit of a thing. But this topic of the flat earth really riles me up. Usually I'm quite a calm, I'm a nice chap. I really am. You can believe that as much as you want. Meet me in person. Hey, pop down to Cardiff one day and we can go for a drink. And we can talk about this stuff. But hey, I'll have my own little meet-up. If anybody's willing to spend their money. And, I think some of my viewers come from America. So if you want to spend the money and come down and meet a 5'7" Welsh dude like me, pop on down. But here's right. This is Angry Welshman. I'm out again. That's it. And I'll see you again. Goodbye.